How's it going, YouTube? It is Docky or Docky Style Gaming, and we're here today with a bunch of brand new Anthem information. John Warner went on an answering spree today on Twitter. He answered so many questions. Every question that I've gathered for today's video will be a new question, and he even answered some of our questions that you guys gave to me to ask to him. Now, he only answered one of mine directly, but some of the other questions that are in this list were questions that you guys actually asked that somebody else just asked him first, and he still replied to. So let's get into all of the new information that John Warner, the game director of Anthem, gave us today. So let's start off with the very first bit of news, which is actually the one that he answered from our channel. And this question was actually asked by John Nomack in the comment section of my last video. He wanted to know about the InGame Chat, so when I asked him about if there would be InGame Chat in the game, or in the open world, or when you're actually exploring or with random players, John Warner did have to say that we will support InGame Chat when you are in a squad or reinforcing others. So that's great, that's good to know. I'm glad that that's going to be in this game, considering they said there will be matchmaking for almost everything in the game. So being able to join up with different crews and being able to communicate in game is perfect. Next bit of information, they were asking if you could have double grenades or like double mortars for your Colossus, things of that nature. And you actually can't, because each of those gear slots are different types. So you can't put two grenades in two different gear slots. Each gear slot is a different type. So there might be different varieties to the gear slots, meaning you can only put certain things in those individual gear slots. So don't expect double grenades. It'll be one grenade and it'll be on a cooldown. Same with the mortars and things of that nature. The next bit of info that he went to talk on about was, he did say that there will be long-term challenges for people to grind for, and I'm super happy about that, because in the question, they were making sure that there wasn't going to be handout for players, that people would actually have a sense of pride in accomplishing something that they do challenging and being rewarded for it. It's not just something that everybody could get in the game. So I'm happy to hear that there will be long-term in-game challenges that'll be a bit difficult, but will also be kind of rewarding as well. The next one that he went on to say was that there possibly could be VR support, which is kind of funny. He said never say never, but it's interesting to me because in my recent Anthem discussion live stream, me and somebody else who had commented were talking about the possibilities of a VR Anthem. So it's very interesting to see that he did say that it is possible, but never say never. So we could be playing Anthem on VR. Not likely, and probably not anytime soon, but it is a possibility, so I thought that was pretty cool. The next bit of information was talking about environmental destruction, and he did say that there is environmental destruction in game, but it's not in a large scale. And we've kind of seen some of it in some of the gameplay where you're destroying some of the trees or you're blowing up that big fort where the scars are. So we do know that there is that in the game for sure. Now, when asked about planned expansions or DLC, he didn't really go too much into it, but he just said that they haven't really published anything on this yet. So they're not really going to be talking about it at the moment, but definitely expect to see expansions or DLCs in the game. Who knows if it's going to be paid for yet, but we'll see. Now, on to the next question, was talking about different factions or groups that we could pledge allegiances to for rewards in the game, or special rewards at least. And he did say not in the way that we're thinking. So the way I was actually thinking was similar to how the syndicate system works in Warframe. So who knows how that's going to be? We know that there's definitely a difference between Lancers and Freelancers. So there may be some type of group or faction system in the game, but it may work completely different than what we're actually expecting. Now, the next one was talking about fast traveling, and they did say that you will be able to fast travel to your teammates, but you'll be placed in a close proximity to them when you join in, and you'll have to fly there the rest of the way, essentially. So that's that. I thought that was pretty interesting. The next bit of information, and there will be another one that pops up soon, but they were of course asked about any information on the demo, and he did go on to say that demo details are coming very soon, and very bold. So we can definitely be expecting some demo details or beta releases, something of that nature very soon, and I'll go back to that a little later in the video. Now, I'm talking about guilds and alliances that we know are going to be in game. They're going to be like a clan system where you can invite your friends and multiple people. And he did say, the question that was asked, I should say, was if they would be relevant or impactful in will we have a sense of progression? Now, he actually said you are correct, but then he also said it's a little too early to discuss this. So it seems like he was answering his question, but he also didn't want to go too much into detail. So it seems like there will be things that you can do as a clan or alliance or guild or whatever they're going to call it in the game that will have some form of an impact to the players and some type of special progression as well. So that's very cool, and that's also another incentive in the game to play with friends and create a guild and a group in the game. So the next one that he went on to talk about was saying that you'll find your weapons and your gear from loot drops in the game. So that's kind of self-explanatory, but he didn't really go too much into detail, and I kind of wonder if also you'll be able to get some of these special loot, or I should say weapon and gear drops from hidden quests in the game, similar to how Destiny has like their Black Spindle quest. I wonder if there'll be hidden quests in the game that can also drop special or very valuable weapons or armor pieces that you can only get from doing certain quests. So he didn't go too much into that. The answer he gave was kind of self-explanatory, but I'm glad he at least answered it anyway. The next one that he went on to talk about was saying that they are bringing Anthem to Gamescom, or I should say it's brought at Gamescom already to playtest, but it's only by appointment. He did go on to say that more demo information is coming very soon again. He's been hinting at it a lot. So definitely expect some new demo information within possibly the next couple days, because tomorrow is the live reveal of the brand new gameplay demo. So expect some new information on that pretty soon. The next bit of information is talking about the shields for the Colossus. Now, the person asked if it would be an attachment or if you'd be able to switch it out. And he did say that the shield for the Colossus isn't a gear attachment. It's actually something that I've mentioned on the channel before. He said damage mitigation. It's an ability. And he said the Rangers have a dash for their damage mitigation, and the Storm has a teleport for his damage mitigation. And of course, he said more on Interceptor later with the winky face. So again, a lot of these hints are making me believe that we're going to be getting a lot of information very soon, whether it be tomorrow or come PAX. So definitely stay tuned to that on the channel. The next bit of news that he went on to talk about was asking if there would be major scheduled events or things like that in the game, and he did say that there will be major scheduled events and random occurring ones in the game, but they'll also be talking about more of that later. So definitely expect some special events in game that'll probably be timed, and then there'll also be just the randomly occurring ones, because it is a dedicated server-based game, so everybody can experience the same events at the exact same time all across the world. So that's pretty cool. Now, this bit of information I actually covered way back in one of my very first videos when I was talking about the pre-order. Now, this one was talking about the EA Access. You can actually play Anthem a full week early if you have EA Access. You could play it on February the 15th, 2019. Like I said, I did cover this before in one of my very first Anthem videos on the channel when I was talking about the pre-order, but it's been so long since I covered it, I wanted to put that in here again anyway. Now, this next bit of information was talking about if there's really a reason to come back, and they wanted to make sure, and they definitely emphasized this a lot in most of the questions. Now, he said because of how dynamic the world is, there are multiple reasons to come back daily, and essentially things that are going to keep you playing for hours at a time. So I'm super happy to hear about that. I always want there to be an incentive to come back and play a game, and when I'm playing the game, I want to have a reason to play for multiple hours, similar to how I do with Warframe. So I'm glad that that's something that they're taking seriously over there at BioWare. The next bit of information was talking about social spaces and if there would be any other social spaces in the game to meet players, and John Warner went on to say that adventuring in the open world with up to 3 players is technically our shared space or our social space in Fort Tarsus, and our Strider will be our only unique story experience. So for us, individual single player story experiences will be at Fort Tarsus and the Strider. And then he also did go on to say check out the Our World Your Story panel next week at PAX, which Mark Dara and Michael Gamble, along with some other BioWare devs, will be there talking about some new stuff at a panel, possibly even showing off some new stuff. And again, I will be covering that when that happens as well. A lot of brand new Anthem stuff is coming out within these couple weeks, so stay tuned for that. The next question that was talked about, if we'd be able to change our characters' names in game, and he did say yes, we will, and you can set it as your call sign. So that's kind of interesting. I definitely guess I'll be running Docky Donkey all throughout Anthem. So I'm definitely glad to see that, and that people will be able to identify you like that in the game, and that we could actually change it. So that's pretty cool. The next bit of information was a question that was asked by somebody else, but I know I've got this question in the comment section before, and they were asking about different biomes. I even asked him this myself on Twitter yesterday, but somebody beat me to it. And he did say that mostly it is set in the jungles, but there will be a few surprises to come. So definitely, he's not saying that the only biomes are water, underwater caves, and the jungle itself. There's definitely going to be some other ones, but they're not ready to talk about it. And I kind of teased some of it in my Anthem lore video about the factions. If you watched it, I talked about the Dominion and how they moved up to the north and conquered it, and that whole territory is technically a whole different biome now because of it. But I won't get into that. You can watch the lore video for that one. All right, bear with me now, guys. We're almost done with the John Warner related questions. So the next question that was asked was if we could get the other 2 Javelin videos, and John Warner did say most likely with a smiley face. So again, I feel like he's hinting a lot that we'll be seeing something pretty special come tomorrow. Now, this was something that I was really happy to see, and they did say that once we hit our max level for our freelancers in the game, there will be additional systems in place to encourage us to keep grinding. So just because we will hit our max cap, there will still be a lot of things for us to keep doing in the game, and I'm super happy to hear that. So that's definitely something I'm very excited to see. Now, this next question is a reference to Destiny. Now, I didn't post a full question, but it was something along the lines of, would it be an open world game or would it be planet-based similar to how Destiny was? And if we'd be getting a completely full game, or would we get part of the game and then the rest of it will be dropped as DLCs, similar to how Destiny does? Now, John Warner went on to say that Anthem will be a completely open world game and will be finished and complete at launch, and that they will constantly provide new content for the game. So I'm super happy to hear that. That was something I know a lot of people worried about, was that there probably wasn't going to be enough story, or if it was going to be part of the story and then they would get a bunch of paid expansions, because I know a lot of people are still kind of skeptical and on the fences because this still is an EA game, but it is made by BioWare, and if there's one thing that they do right, they do their stories extremely right, and they do them justice. So I definitely have faith that we're going to get a complete story, a fantastic story, I should say, for Anthem, and then all of the new content that we get will just be smaller add-ons to it to just keep enriching the story that we already currently have in the game. So now on to the last 2 things that John Warner covered. One of them, he was saying that there will be exciting things for us to do post-launch, and they will talk about it later. Now, this last one, he actually didn't even answer a question. He posted this himself, and I'm glad he did this. He said that we know in-game activities and progression are a huge importance for our players, but essentially that there will be more news on this later. So I'm very happy to see that they're taking into consideration that in-game is a very important aspect of games. Once you complete the story mode, the in-game is what's going to keep your players coming back, and that was one of the biggest downfalls of Destiny. Once people beat Destiny 2, they realized that there wasn't any end game, and that's when a lot of things started happening, a lot of complaints started coming up, and people started finding out things that probably Bungie didn't want them to find out, such as the whole XP throttling thing, but I'm not going to get into that. But I'm very happy that at least BioWare is making sure that they're going to try and give us the best sense of progression and the best in terms of in-game activities, because they want their players to keep coming back. I'm extremely happy to hear that. So that's all of the information that we got from John Warner, all the questions that he answered, all of the new information we got, but there is still one more thing that was dropped today. And the last bits of information we got today came from BioWare, actually. We got the Valor score that was released from the official Anthem Soundtrack. It was released on Twitter today. And then also they released the composer for Anthem, who is Sarah Sashner, who has worked on multiple Assassin's Creed games, multiple Call of Duty games. She's done Army of Two. She's worked on Far Cry 3, Need for Speed. She's done TV, film. She's done a bunch of stuff. I looked up her whole discography, and yeah, she's done a bunch of fantastic work. So we should definitely expect some epic soundtrack music from her. And I'm a sucker for good scores in video games. This Is What You Are and The Sacrifice from Warframe are amazing. And my personal favorite soundtrack of all time, or score I should say of all time, is Trouble in Town from Assassin's Creed 3. Is by far one of my favorites ever. And then if we're being realistic, the nostalgic person in me, Sonic's 2 Chemical Plant Zone is just, that's amazing. You can't really top that. But we should definitely expect some fantastic music from her. So that's all of the new information we got today, guys. Before I go, I do want to say, definitely go to Twitter if you have a Twitter and just tell John Warner thanks. I mean, these dudes are doing so much to give us so much information. We have so little footage, but they are doing their best to keep the hype alive. They're showing us what they can, and they're still working on this, and they're giving us information almost daily, every step of the way, and they definitely appreciate it. I've had Ben Irvin, he liked one of my sarcastic comments on one of his tweets. And even this morning, I just said thank you to John Warner for answering questions, and he liked it. I mean, they definitely appreciate when fans appreciate what they are doing. So definitely go show those dudes some love, because like I said, they are doing a lot to keep hype alive. They're the reasons why I can even keep bringing these videos, is because they are giving us so much information with so little that they have right now. So that's all I really got for this video, guys. Thanks for sticking around to the end of this. Again, if you guys have anything you want answered or potentially answered by either Mark Dara or John Warner, just drop those questions in the comment section. And again, I'll do what I was doing all yesterday and tweeting your answers out to both of them, and hopefully we can get a response. And if we do, I will drop it in this video. So thanks for watching, guys. Extremely sorry for the long video. I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace.